Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to dig into a stack of sources and pull out the key insights, basically giving you a shortcut to getting smart on complex topics. And today, we're cracking open a really old, really famous book. We're starting a multi-part journey into Sun Tzu's classic, The Art of War.
That's right, a text that's, over 2,000 years old?
Easily. And for this first deep dive, we're tackling what Sun Tzu puts right at the beginning, the calculations.
The absolute bedrock. It's all about the vital importance of assessment, of planning, of, doing your homework before you even think about making a move.
Before any kind of engagement, yeah.
Exactly. Sun Tzu basically argues that victory isn't just won on the battlefield. Often it's secured long before that, just through the sheer quality of your preparation.
And this isn't just dusty military history, is it? We're talking about strategy that applies anywhere.
Oh, absolutely. Business, career moves, even personal life stuff. If you're planning something significant, this is about laying the groundwork properly, doing the calculations first.
It really is amazing how relevant it still feels. So Sun Tzu gives us these 5 fundamental factors to assess, almost like a pre-strategy checklist.
That's a great way to put it.
A checklist.
What are they again? The way, heaven, earth.
Command, and discipline. Those 5.
Right. And we're going to unpack each one, try to translate them from ancient China to, the modern boardroom or startup garage.
Yeah, see how this 500 BC wisdom holds up today? Because, spoiler alert, it really does.
Right.
These aren't just, philosophical ideas. They're practical tools for thinking strategically.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How does ancient military advice actually help someone navigate, say, market disruption or launching a new product?
Yeah.
Where's the connection?
Let's dive into the first one then, the way.
Okay.
So in Sun Tzu's original text, the way is all about the moral authority of a leader. It's about making sure the people and the ruler are totally in sync.
In sync how? Like sharing the same purpose, the same goals. So much so that they'd follow the leader anywhere, face any danger without flinching. It's that deep, shared sense of why we're doing this, a collective will.
Okay, so bringing that into today, that sounds a lot like a company's mission, its core values, its fundamental identity, the why.
Exactly. It's the organizational why. But, and this is key, it's not just about having a catchy mission statement framed on the lobby wall.
Right, we've all seen those.
Yeah. It has to be much, much deeper. Think about Simon Sinek and his whole start with why concept.
A golden circle.
Right. He argues compellingly that it's not what you do, but why you do it that truly inspires people, that builds loyalty. It's the purpose, the belief behind the business.
And that why needs to be constantly reinforced?
Constantly. Woven into everything. Hiring, product development, strategy. Everyone needs to understand it, believe it, and, crucially, be held accountable to it. Otherwise, Sinek says, people just work for a paycheck.
Ugh.
But with a clear why, they work with passion.
That makes sense. That passion, that loyalty. It feels like it needs to come from the top, but also bubble up from everywhere. I'm thinking about Satya Nadella at Microsoft.
Oh, good example.
When he took over, he really hammered that new mission to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. That felt like a deliberate attempt to redefine their way, didn't it?
Absolutely deliberate, especially as he admitted, after they kind of missed the boat on mobile. That mission wasn't just fluff. It was a strategic realignment.
A new why.
A new why.
Yeah.
It shifted their focus from just selling Windows or Office to enabling potential. It changed how they thought about everything, products, partners, even competitors. It became their North Star, their differentiator.
So it's about truly owning the mission, top to bottom. But is just owning it enough? Or does it take something more, especially when things get really tough?
That's a really important point. Ownership is crucial, but deep understanding is maybe even more so. Look at Jocko Willink and Leif Babin, the extreme ownership.
Yeah, the Navy SEALs.
Right. They found that operators who didn't just own their piece of the plan, but truly understood the commander's intent, the why behind the overall mission.
They were more effective.
Way more effective,
Yeah.
even in incredibly chaotic situations. Because they understood the objective, they could adapt, make smart decisions on the fly without needing constant direction. That's the depth of understanding the way it requires. It's not just following, it's understanding the purpose.
And that builds trust, presumably?
Huge trust. Peter Drucker nailed this years ago. He said organizations aren't built on force anymore, they're built on trust. And trust comes from mutual understanding. The way is the foundation for that understanding.
It's almost like the way acts as the organization's immune system.
Yeah.
It defines what fits, what's us, and rejects what isn't, protects you from drifting off course.
That's a brilliant analogy. An immune system. It protects against mission drift, internal conflict. Nadella's mission, in a way, inoculated Microsoft against becoming irrelevant.
So what happens if a company loses its way? If that why gets muddy or people stop believing?
Oh, it's usually pretty disastrous. You see infighting, plummeting morale, a total lack of strategic focus. Decisions become scattered, people disengage, the organization just sort of wanders, burns resources without direction, becomes purely reactive.
Not a good place to be.
Definitely not. Long-term survival becomes very questionable.
So for anyone listening, think about your own work, your projects. Is there a clear way? Does everyone involved really get it, believe in it, not just pay lip service to it? That's Sun Tzu's first calculation. Super critical.
Okay, ready for the next one?
Let's do it. Heaven. Sounds kind of lofty.
It does, yeah. But again, Sun Tzu meant something quite practical. Heaven refers to all those external factors you can't control,
Right.
like the weather, the seasons, the time of day,
Yeah.
the general environment.
Mm.
In modern terms, think the macro environment, big picture stuff.
Okay, so economic cycles, tech disruptions, demographic shifts, political changes,
Yeah.
market volatility, all that external noise.
Exactly. The forces you can't dictate, but you absolutely positively have to understand and factor into your plans. Your strategy has to account for the weather.
But that's tough, isn't it? There's so much happening, so much uncertainty. How do leaders tell the difference between a real fundamental shift, like a black swan event, and just, temporary turbulence or hype?
Yeah, that is the million-dollar question. Nassim Taleb's Black Swan idea is super relevant here. He talks about these highly improbable events with massive impact, like, say, a global pandemic or a sudden financial crash.
Things nobody really saw coming.
Right. And Taleb points out this weird human thing. We tend to overestimate the probability of these things after they've happened or been discussed, but we often neglect them in our actual planning, like not buying insurance for something unlikely but devastating.
So it's not about predicting the unpredictable.
Not exactly. It's
Mhm.
more about acknowledging the potential for major unforeseen shifts and building resilience rather than assuming stability. Understanding the nature of heaven means understanding that storms can and do arise unexpectedly.
And technology is a huge part of heaven today, obviously.
Oh, massive.
Yeah.
Think about Carlota Perez's work on technological revolutions. She talks about these paradigm shifts where whole clusters of new industries and opportunities suddenly emerge, often driven by a breakthrough technology.
Like the internet or AI now.
Precisely. Companies that don't recognize these shifts, that don't adapt their understanding of heaven, they risk just fading away. You can't control the invention, but you have to understand its implications.
Peter Drucker was big on this too, right? Scanning the horizon.
Absolutely. He insisted effective executives must constantly monitor the outside world. Demographics, changing values, new knowledge, new tech. He saw these as critical inputs for strategy. Ignoring them, that's like planning a battle without knowing if it's going to rain or if night is falling.
Yeah.
You need those antennae up, always.
So it's about recognizing the forces, but heaven is also about timing, isn't it? Seizing the moment.
Critically important. Timing can be everything. Elon Musk has that really blunt analogy.
The Gallipoli one.
Yeah. He says being off by 6 months in execution is like the disaster at Gallipoli, where the attack came too late after the bombardment, letting the enemy recover. His point is brutal but clear. Timing is important. Don't wait around when the moment is right.
That really drives it home. A delay isn't just a delay, it can be fatal.
It absolutely can. And look at Reid Hoffman and Chris Ye talking about blitzscaling.
Right, growing incredibly fast.
Their whole argument is that in certain markets, especially winner-take-all ones, being the first to reach critical scale creates this powerful feedback loop. It gives you a lasting advantage. Uber expanding like crazy, city by city, that's a perfect example.
They prioritize speed over perfection.
Exactly. They understood the heavenly conditions, the emerging market, the network effects favored rapid, aggressive expansion. Right then, the timing was key. They seized it.
So maybe the big lesson for heaven isn't about having a crystal ball. It's more about what? Developing strategic agility. Sensing the currents.
I think that's it. Sensing the unseen currents and having the agility to act decisively when an opportunity aligns with those currents. It's about knowing the difference between a passing fad and a genuine sea change that requires a whole new approach.
And getting the timing right. Not too early, not too late.
The perennial challenge.
Yeah.
Too early, you burn cash educating a market that isn't ready. Too late, the window's closed, someone else got there. It often takes this blend of solid data analysis and, frankly, good intuition. You need to understand the velocity of a trend, not just its existence.
Okay, so before you make that next big move, pause, ask. What are the prevailing winds and seasons out there? What external forces, tech, economy, culture could totally change the game for me, no matter how good my internal plan is? Am I just reacting, or am I actually navigating by understanding the climate?
That's the heaven calculation.
All right, let's come down from heaven to earth. What does Sun Tzu mean by this one?
Earth is much more tangible. It's about the terrain, the ground you're fighting on. Think distances, dangers, choke points, secure positions.
Okay, so in business terms.
It's your competitive landscape.
Yeah.
The structure of your market. Who are the players? What resources do you have? And where are they? What are the geographical factors? It's literally mapping out your operational battlefield.
The nitty-gritty stuff.
Yeah.
Industry analysis, market share, resource allocation.
All of that. And critically, understanding not just your current position, but the potential advantages and pitfalls within that landscape.
So frameworks like Porter's 5 forces would fit in here?
Perfectly. Michael Porter's work on things like entry barriers. How hard is it for someone new to jump into your market? Think economies of scale, brand loyalty, patents. Those are like fortifications on your earth.
And switching costs.
Exactly. If it's really difficult or expensive for customers to switch to a competitor, that's very secure ground for you. Understanding these forces helps you see the strategic lay of the land. Where are the defensible hills? Where are the dangerous swamps?
But it's not just about the existing players and customers, is it? I remember reading Kim and Maborn on this.
Blue ocean strategy, yes.
They argue you should look beyond the current battlefield, the red ocean, where everyone's fighting over the same customers.
Precisely. They say market-creating strategies often come from focusing on non-customers. Why aren't certain people buying anything in your category? What are their pain points?
Like Salesforce initially targeting smaller companies that couldn't afford traditional enterprise software.
Exactly. They found a massive, untapped ocean of non-customers. Kim and Maborn argue these non-customers hold the key insights into what's limiting an industry's current boundaries. Understanding them reveals new earth to claim.
So the most valuable territory might be the one nobody's fighting for yet.
Often, yes. Instead of just battling harder in the crowded space, look for the uncontested ground. Why aren't people participating? Solve that, and you create a whole new market, a blue ocean.
But established players often miss this, don't they? They get focused on their current earth.
They really do. Clayton Christensen's Innovator's Dilemma is all about this. Established firms look at new, disruptive technologies serving small, initially unattractive markets.
And they dismiss them.
Yeah, because the margins aren't great, or the volumes are low compared to their main business. Meanwhile, new entrants see the potential in those niches.
Like the Seagate example with the smaller hard drives.
Classic case. Seagate listened to its main customers who wanted bigger, higher capacity drives and initially dismissed the smaller 3.5-inch drives. Startups grabbed that niche, improved the tech, moved up market, and eventually disrupted Seagate itself.
They misread the future Earth because they were too focused on the current map.
Exactly. They failed to see how the terrain itself was shifting beneath their feet. The insight here is powerful. Don't let your current success blind you to emerging territories, especially as those non-customers are seemingly low-end markets. They might be the future high ground.
So how do companies actively scout this uncharted Earth? Look for the non-customers?
It requires a deliberate shift in perspective. Talk to people who aren't buying from you or your competitors. Understand their barriers, their frustrations. Don't just optimize for your existing base.
And the risk of not doing that?
Complacency, obsolescence, getting blindsided. You become so comfortable on your current secure ground that you don't invest in the things that will matter tomorrow. And that creates the perfect opening for a disruptor to come in from the edges and eventually take your core market.
Resourcefulness plays a part in Earth too, right? Making the most of the terrain you have.
Absolutely. Think about Robert Moses, the New York planner. He was a master at acquiring land for parks, sometimes finding owners delinquent on taxes, or persuading philanthropists to donate land getting valuable earth without spending cash. It's about seeing the hidden value and potential in the resources available.
Or Sam Walton, spreading his stores across small towns so he wasn't putting all his eggs in one basket. Diversifying his Earth.
Yes, understanding geographic distribution and risk. Even Adam Smith, way back, noted how the profitability of assets varies hugely depending on the market, commodities, and some markets are inherently more unstable earth than others.
Okay, so reflecting on this, how well do you actually know your terrain, your competitive landscape? Are you only looking at the current players, the current customers? Or are you actively exploring that uncharted earth where non-customers live, where future opportunities might lie? That wider view seems critical.
All right, let's move to the fourth factor, command.
This sounds like it's about the leader, the general.
Exactly. Sun Tzu lists the key qualities: wisdom, sincerity, benevolence, courage, and strictness.
Wisdom, sincerity, benevolence, courage, strictness. That's quite a mix.
It is. In today's world, this translates directly to effective leadership, good decision-making, and building a strong, capable team. It's the human element driving the strategy.
The soft skills that are actually incredibly hard and incredibly important, getting people to want to follow you. But
Right.
benevolence and strictness, don't those sometimes pull in opposite directions?
That's a really perceptive question. They can seem contradictory, can't they? But true command isn't about being either benevolent or strict. It's about wisdom, knowing when and how to apply each quality appropriately.
Ah, okay. Balance.
Balance. Peter Drucker, again, his work on effective executives lines up so well here. He laid out these practical rules.
Like asking what needs to be done.
Yes. And what's right for the enterprise? Not just for me or my department, but for the whole organization. Developing action plans, taking responsibility for decisions, good or bad.
And communicating those decisions, right?
Crucial. Drucker also stressed focusing on opportunities, not just problems, running meetings that actually achieve something, and always thinking we, not I. These are all facets of wise, sincere, and responsible command.
And that strictness piece comes in with accountability.
Partly, yes, holding people to standards. But also, Drucker pointed out that an action plan isn't a straitjacket, it's a statement of intent. A wise commander knows when the plan needs to adapt based on new information. That takes courage, too, the courage to change course.
That adaptability links back to the commander's intent idea from extreme ownership, doesn't it?
It really does. If you, as the leader, have clearly communicated the intent, the why, linking back to the way, then your team understands the ultimate goal.
So they can make adjustments themselves.
Exactly. They're empowered to make smart decisions within that framework, even if circumstances change unexpectedly. That's benevolence, trusting your people. But it's coupled with the strictness of ensuring the intent is crystal clear and everyone is accountable for achieving it.
What about dealing with difficult situations? Does command speak to that?
Oh, definitely. Look at Machiavelli and the Prince. Maybe a controversial source, but his advice on leadership is sharp.
What did he say?
He basically advised leaders to tackle problems head-on, immediately. Don't let them fester, even if it means taking difficult action early, like going to war preemptively to avoid a bigger conflict later.
Like the Romans fighting their enemies abroad so they wouldn't have to fight them at home.
Precisely. Machiavelli saw that as wise and courageous command, addressing threats proactively, even if it's unpopular in the short term, to protect the long-term health of the state or the enterprise. It's about foresight and the guts to act on it.
So maybe a core insight for command is this blend of proactive foresight and adaptable empowerment. Seeing trouble coming, having the courage to act, but also trusting your team enough to let them adapt within a clear intent.
I think that captures it beautifully. The wisdom to see, the courage to act, the sincerity to be trusted, the benevolence to empower, and the strictness to maintain focus and accountability. It's a complex balancing act.
It sounds like it requires real self-awareness, too, knowing your own strengths and weaknesses as a leader.
Absolutely. Daniel Goleman's work on leadership style shows there isn't one right way. Sometimes you need to be affiliative, people come first. Sometimes democratic, getting input, sometimes commanding. The wisdom is choosing the right style for the right situation.
And humility seems key, too. I remember reading The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, where a leader enjoying compliments too much undermined the whole team.
Yes. Lack of humility can be fatal for trust and collaboration, no matter how skilled the leader is otherwise. Sincerity and benevolence require a degree of humility.
So in today's world fast change, remote teams, how do leaders actually cultivate these 5 qualities? It feels harder than ever.
It takes constant conscious effort. Wisdom grows through learning, reflection, listening to diverse views. Sincerity and benevolence are built by being transparent, communicating openly, genuinely caring. Courage means making tough calls, taking calculated risks. And strictness translates to clear expectations, consistent accountability, high standards, but always within a supportive, fair context. It's dynamic.
So maybe the question for listeners is, what kind of commander are you? In your work, Your life? Do you set clear intentions, empower others, tackle problems head on, or do you find yourself mostly reacting? It's a tough mirror to hold up.
Okay, last one of the 5 calculations. Discipline.
This sounds more straightforward. Rules. Order.
Sort of. But it's broader than just rules. Sun Tzu talked about organization, ranks, logistics, controlling spending. In modern business, think robust systems, efficient processes, clear lines of accountability, and, crucially, the mechanisms for continuous learning and improvement.
So it's the operational side, making sure the strategy actually happens, the execution engine.
Exactly. It's the bridge between the brilliant plan and the actual results on the ground. Without discipline, the best strategy in the world is just theory.
But discipline feels hard today. We're constantly bombarded with distractions, data overload. Harvard Business Review even talked about attention deficit trait in organizations. How do you cultivate focus and discipline in this environment?
That is the challenge, isn't it? Maintaining focus. Cal Newport's idea of deep work is really relevant here.
Scheduling focused time.
Yeah, he literally suggests scheduling almost every minute of your day. It sounds extreme, maybe, but the point is to intentionally block out time for high-value focused work and prevent the trivial stuff from constantly interrupting. That's a personal discipline that scales up to organizational effectiveness.
It's about creating the conditions for discipline.
Precisely. And it's also about breaking bad habits. Charles Duhigg, in The Power of Habit, observed how teens under pressure often revert to old, comfortable, but ineffective routines.
Comfort zones, yeah.
Discipline means consciously identifying those unhelpful habits and actively building new, better ones, especially for handling stress or unexpected challenges. It's about stopping the wrong things as much as starting the right things.
And discipline in learning, making sure you're learning the right lessons.
Critical. This is where data discipline comes in. Reid Hoffman and Chris have that great line in Blitzscaling when user anecdotes and actual data contradict each other.
Listen to the data.
Listen to the data. They used the Facebook facial recognition example. People said it was creepy in focus groups. But the data showed auto-tagging significantly boosted engagement. Discipline meant trusting the behavioral data over the expressed opinions.
That takes guts sometimes, especially if the anecdotes are loud.
It does. It requires a disciplined approach to testing, measuring, and letting evidence guide decisions, not just gut feelings or the loudest voice in the room.
So a core insight here might be that discipline isn't just rigidity. It's about building intelligent systems for execution and learning. Systems that reinforce focus, enable objective evaluation, and drive continuous improvement based on real feedback.
Perfectly put. It's about designing your environment, your processes, your routines, your formations and logistics, in Sun Tzu's terms, to enforce the discipline your strategy requires. Think about establishing clear team goals and working approaches, like Katzenbach and Smith described in The Discipline of Teams.
Or having systems to manage innovation, like systematically weeding out projects that don't align with the strategy, as mentioned in Built to Last or Innovator's Dilemma.
Yes, that's crucial internal discipline for resource allocation. Or consider A.G. Lafley and Roger Martin's point in Playing to Win, strategy fails if you don't build management systems to support it. They talked about P&G implementing specific meeting structures and review processes to ensure strategic choices translated into action.
It's also about addressing individual performance issues related to discipline, right? Like the won't do problem after someone has learned something from the new 1-minute manager.
Right. Discipline includes accountability. Understanding the cost to the organization when someone isn't following through and addressing it constructively. It's all part of maintaining the operational integrity needed to execute.
And avoiding getting stuck in old ways just because that's how we've always done it, path dependency.
Exactly. That idea from strategic flexibility, inefficient routines can lock you into suboptimal paths. Discipline involves periodically evaluating your core processes, your meta routines, to ensure they still serve the strategy effectively and haven't just become ingrained habits.
Okay, so final question for the listener on this one. What are the drills and formations in your own strategy? Your systems, your processes, your accountability structures, are they actually helping you achieve your goals, or are they just creating busy work that distracts from what really matters? Where could your discipline be stronger? Hashtag tag outro.
Wow. Okay, so we've walked through Sun Tzu's 5 big calculations. The way, heaven, earth, command, and discipline. And it's pretty clear these aren't just footnotes from ancient history. They feel incredibly relevant. They form this comprehensive blueprint for strategic thinking in almost any field. They really do. From nailing down your core purpose and getting everyone aligned the way, to understanding the external environment and timing heaven, to mapping your specific competitive landscape and resources Earth, then having effective leadership command, and finally building the systems for execution and learning discipline.
It's a holistic view.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's about shifting from just reacting to things or simply hoping for the best to proactively shaping your future because you've done the rigorous thinking up front. You've run the calculations. You understand the variables.
So this deep dive, really focusing on these calculations, it's not just about avoiding mistakes, is it? It's about fundamentally increasing your odds of success.
Absolutely. It's the homework.
Mhm.
It's the preparation that separates sustainable success from luck or guesswork. It's about knowing why you're likely to succeed before you even start.
Doing the work before you make the move.
Precisely. And maybe here's a final thought to leave people with. Drawing from someone like Benjamin Franklin, who was pretty cunning himself, Franklin suggested that real shrewdness, real cunning, often lies in seeing trouble before it arises and acting early to mitigate or even capitalize on it.
Foresight.
Foresight, based on calculation. So the provocative question is, what calculations are you currently neglecting in your work or life? What factors weigh heaven, earth, command, discipline haven't you fully assessed? Because hidden within those neglected calculations might be the key to turning a potential future crisis into a significant present opportunity.
That's a powerful thought. What are you not calculating that could change everything? Food for thought.